Welcome to Keto Life Support, where we make your keto life sustainable, fun, and low stress. I'm Kim Howerton, and I'll be coming to you weekly with some of my keto besties to bring you the practical, real-world keto advice that you need. Quick disclaimer, I am not a doctor, and even if we do have a doctor in the house from time to time, he or she is not your doctor, and nothing we say on this show should be taken as medical advice. Always check in with a trusted medical professional about your own personal medical concerns.
Hello and welcome to Keto Life Support. This is Kim Howerton, and it's episode 200. Yay! And to celebrate today, we're doing a quick one, a Kim Rant on backhanded compliments. Okay, so I was talking with a client the other day, and she said, I put myself out there on social media, and I got a bunch of comments, and immediately I'm like, oh no. She's like, some of them were good, but one of them just really got under my skin. And I said, wait, let me guess what it was. And I hadn't seen it, so it was a complete guess. And I said, did they tell you to keep going? She said, yes. And I said, I hate that. And we laughed. And, it's a little comic relief, but it happens all the time that you post a progress pic or something where you're talking about your journey. And I sort of feel it's a little ambiguous, right? I always think it's about to use a swear word. It's a bit of a mind twister because there's part of you that's like, did they think that was nice? Did they mean it encouragingly? Or do they know they're being unfriendly? I'm really going to struggle in this episode not to use some of my more creative language. And so I acknowledge that some people are not good at reading how they are going to come across. And so I also will acknowledge that there might be some people that are just awkward communicators and had nothing but positive intent behind what they said. But so for those of you that are listening that are currently offended because you say things like this, I'm going to say I believe you that you didn't mean anything bad and that you were only trying to be positive. But I'm going to stand here on the other side and say that's not how it comes across, right? There are ways to say nice things and there are ways to keep your mouth shut. And so I am just putting it out there. I think it's almost impossible to say, keep going in a way that is going to be positively felt. Let me describe some exceptions. Someone is running a marathon where their destination and they haven't reached their destination because they're on mile 2 and that's not how long a marathon is. And you can say, you're doing a great job, keep it up, keep going, right? That no negativity there because it is understood, clear, and announced that they're only part way through their commitment. But when you see somebody's body in a picture where they're saying, that's where I started from, here's what I look like now. And maybe they haven't said I'm halfway through my journey. They have not said anything about their journey not being over. Do not tell them to keep going because what that person will hear is, yeah, good try, you're not there yet. It reads as not good enough. Better than you were, but not good enough, right? And so I have gotten this comment before. Almost everybody who's been on social media that I know with a weight loss journey has gotten that comment before. And I don't know if it's generally a troll or just generally somebody who's not good at communicating. And like I said, we give people the benefit of the doubt. So you can consider this an educational episode, maybe. If you know somebody who makes comments like this, you can tell them to listen to it. But if you get comments like this, I just want to say, I feel you. I am you. I know that many of us have complex relationships with our body. And even when we get where we want to get in terms of a goal we had, we still maybe don't feel good enough. Maybe we have loose skin, like we lost all the body fat we want to lose, but we still have loose skin. So we know we don't look quite the way we thought we would look when we would be this size, right? And so we feel kind of vulnerable for that not good enough feeling, for that not good enough thought, to be triggered in that way. And I guess I just want to say, like, their comment is proof that they have a problem, not that you do. And I know, I take my own advice, right? We all struggle here. But I'm just putting it out there that this is a consistent thing that happens. I'm just going to commiserate with the people that have heard it and just reinforce that you are allowed to think they are really, you can feel sorry for them. You can say, oof, bless your heart, you are really bad at this communicating thing. Because if you meant to directly insult me, you probably could have come up with something more creative. And if you didn't mean to insult me, you should have said something else. And, so you can just turn that around. Be like, oh, I feel bad for that person. Their life must suck. Because if this is the level of communication they are capable of, oof, they probably don't have very good relationships in their life, right? So I'm just here to say, like, do a little mind twist if this ever happens to you. And instead of feeling attacked or that part of you that is waiting to get triggered, that somebody else thinks you're not good enough because you also think you're not good enough, you can be like, look, I might not be good enough in some way or another, but at least I am not that level of person who is that challenged in the world. So that will be what we discussed today in this quick one, because if I just go on and on about this topic, I'm just going to get heated. And I think I said enough. So I'll talk to you next week.
Thank you so much for joining us for this episode of Keto Life Support. Want more information? Want show notes? Want to suggest a topic? Just head over to ketolifesupport.com. That's where all that kind of thing can go on. By the way, I have a request. If you could go to your podcast host and hit subscribe, we would really, really appreciate it. And what would be even more awesome is if you could write a review. And what would be even more awesome than that is if you could write like a really flattering review. Just asking, you do you. All right. So thanks so much for joining us. I'm thrilled that you're part of the Keto fam. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.